So, here we go. Pedro, can you scoot a little closer to your mic? There you go.
Yeah, you want to get right up on this screen.
Yeah, the closer you talk, the better you sound. So, there you go. You're both looking good.
How does that sound?
Can you hear it okay? Volume all right?
Yes, sir.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect.
We then proceeded at that point into our simulated countdown.
Lunchtime, kids! All right!
Yum, 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 yum.
Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
Hello, friends, indeed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lunch Break Show. I am Josh in studio with Matt and Zach. Anna's in the back doing very important work for us right now. We have a special guest in studio, Stelly and Pedro. So, guys, I saw the tables outside. I saw people lining up. I saw things. I was hoping for free food, but it turns out there was no free food. I was lured in with the hopes of some delicious treats, but instead, you guys are out there and you're doing a charity walk today?
Yes, we are doing what is called National Walking Day. It's an event sponsored by the American Heart Association. Usually takes place in the first week of April, the first Wednesday of April. We at Atmos Energy like to promote our employees' health and well-being, so we do our own National Walking Day event every year. Normally we do it about the same time, but for some events we would like I said, we were taking care of our customers at the beginning of the month, so we just pushed the event back 3 weeks, and then we're doing it today.
Do you guys office out of this building, or you just happen to just work together with them last year, or like how did that work?
Well, we do this event every year, so
yeah.
And it's comprised of all our employees in Tower 3 and Tower 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the office out of here because they take up, I thought I found a clever little cove for parking, but turns out the Atmos trucks have also found that clever little cove to park, to get straight in the back way to the office. It's where Matt and I try to park all the time, but the Atmos trucks speed us to it. So I know you guys' office out of here. So now you guys are just walking around the little pond out here in front of like Tower 1 and Tower 2?
Yeah, it's 0.3 miles around the little course there around the pond. National Walking Day is emphasized that you walk 20 minutes as to emphasize the importance of walking for your heart, for your health. It's part of our wellness program at Atmos. We encourage our employees to be as healthy as possible. So we put this on every year. And you probably didn't see us last year because you were upstairs, I think.
Yeah, we were on the 5th floor last. So we've only been in our new studio for the last few weeks.
So you're right here
months.
at ground level where you can see everything. But this is usually where it takes place every April.
Well, that's great. You know, it's good to see companies who invest in their employees and invest in helping this. And it's a beautiful day outside, so it couldn't have worked out any better for you guys. Thanks for coming on the show, and I appreciate all the things that you guys are doing for employee relations and improving health, and for giving back to the American Heart Association.
Thanks,
you guys.
All right, appreciate it.
Take a quick break. When we come back, we have another special guest in, Johnny Quinn, the U.S. Olympian. I try to pull the Olympic sound. That is not what that
What
is.
is this?
It said Olympic theme music. It is not what it is.
Hold on, wait, hold on. Give it a second. Play it again.
Yeah.
I want to hear this.
Olympics 2018 intro. But that is not in any way what I wanted it to be.
What did?
Because I mean, you weren't in the 2018. You were in the 20.
I was in 2014 over in
2014.
Sochi, Russia. But I don't.
Sochi.
Yeah,
Got it.
Sochi.
Do they change the theme music all the time, or is it just
Well,
bad luck?
No,
on my part?
the Olympic
theme
song
like
for the U.S. is
drums?
all the same. Yeah. That's all right. You can find it.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Let's try
we're
it.
gonna-
You got it.
Let's
You got
run
it. You got it. Yeah, let's hear it.
And of course, it's a commercial for Capital One.
Capital One.
Fail again.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done on the lunch break.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
That sounds
yes. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
A buttoned-up crew.
that's
here.
music to my ears.
Yeah, Johnny, you have come to a buttoned-up show. All professionals, trained and highly organized.
I love
true.
it.
Thank you for joining us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So we'll get to what you got going on. 'Cause
Okay.
I saw some things that you can't reveal yet. Some top secret stuff that comes out next
Sure,
month.
that's right.
We're not going to push it too hard for any sort of hints or teases.
Okay.
But tell me, did it feel weird this year watching than it was last year when you were actually competing?
Well, it was a different experience, but I tell you what, to be a spectator this go around and support the United States and watch our men and women go after medals and represent our country and wear the red, white, and blue, all that's the same. And the excitement, the energy, the emotion. So it was fun to be a spectator this go around because I knew exactly what everybody was experiencing.
Yeah. Did you see anything that surprised you? Because I think the U.S. did better in 14 than they did in the 18. Anything surprises you of any sort of reasons why?
Well, I think, overall in the medal count, you're right. We did do better. I think we finished 4th or 5th in 2018. No surprises. The beauty about competition is that everybody's training for this moment, right? Once every 4 years, you've got your Olympic Games, you have your moment. And so it's neat to see that the athletes step up. And I remember Shaun White's gold medal run there in the half pipe, and how impressive was that for him to lead all the way down to the last run, and then a competitor knocked him into second, and then he takes his final run and wins that 3rd gold medal in his career. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
At what age do you go, all right, I want to be a Olympic athlete? What age? I've obviously missed that time frame for me to go, all right, it's time.
Hey,
never too late,
you
Josh.
never know. It's never too late. Bobsledders get a little bit later start in life. So I watched a lot of cool runnings over and over. No, I'm kidding.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah.
It was my football career when I turned pro did not go the way I anticipated. And through some unexpected opportunities for bobsled to come up, to be a guy that played football, grew up in Texas where we have no snow, and then represent our country in a winter Olympic sport. It was a unique journey.
I've heard that a lot for certain sports. You could have not had years and years and years of training,
Sure,
but just be a superb athlete.
Well, I think my football background, lifting all those weights, getting beat up on the field, hits, things like that, is very similar to bobsled when you crash. So from a physical standpoint, I was, my makeup as a football player helped me. And then I also ran track in college. And so to understand how to warm up your body properly, and especially in cold weather, right, when it's minus 20 degrees, how to warm up properly. So it was interesting to see my training as a football player, as a track and field sprinter, parlay into becoming an Olympic bobsledder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the stories that came out of the Sochi, the Sochi Olympic Games, were the conditions of
Sure.
the housing and players being stuck in dorms
Sure.
and those kind of things. Did you notice any of that on your end, or was it a pretty?
Well, overall, the Russians did a good job of holding a safe and successful Olympics. We did run into some construction issues. I had a small, minor problem with my bathroom door that I had to break down.
Yeah.
But, hey, other than that, it was a great Olympic Games. I had my family come over. My fiance at the time, who's now my wife, she was there. It was awesome to have, the people closest to you over there and at that competition.
You were the Olympian that broke down that bathroom door?
He was.
That's where I've seen your name before.
Yeah.
How was that getting swept up in social media? Because that was the thing.
Well,
that
have
became a story.
I had known breaking down a door in Russia would have created that much excitement, I would have kept some of that door.
Well, yeah. How did that happen exactly? Someone took a photo and posted it somewhere, and then
I ended up breaking out of the door. I saw there was a giant hole in the door, so I took a picture to go show the USOC and say, "Hey guys, ran into an issue with my door." And then I put it on social media, and it just went crazy. 28,000 retweets in 24 hours, seen by an estimated 10 million people around the world.
Have you ever had that kind of pickup on something
Never.
you posted?
First time.
Have you ever had it since?
No.
I mean, that's how going viral goes.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly
out of the
right.
Olympics, you mentioned the door. I'm like, I remember that, the bathroom door thing.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
a thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that is wild.
So now, obviously, you're not going to share, but Sarah is asking online.
Okay.
She goes, please ask Johnny if he can give us a hint on his big announcement for May 15th. Have you prepared?
May 15th.
Have you prepared a hint?
Well,
for us?
here's the deal, and I posted a picture yesterday.
Okay.
The three most common guesses. I've got this announcement coming out May 15th. If you're not connected with me on social media, jump on there. All my handles are at Johnny Quinn USA. And the top three guesses so far: number 1, running for political office.
Okay.
Number 2, becoming a suit model. And number 3, launching my own podcast. These are all great guesses, but we need a couple more in the hopper. So that's as much as I can give. We've got some great feedback.
So you're not even denying the guesses. You're just saying they're great guesses.
I'm just saying they're great guesses, and we're having a lot of fun with it. May 15th is going to be a great day on what I'm going to announce on that day.
I like that as somebody who's, I like to think of myself as a professional podcaster. Podcasting makes top 3. That's pretty
There you
good.
go, right?
Hey,
That's
it's turning into something.
Yeah.
It's taking on a life of its own. A movement, Josh.
Yeah.
So now we're getting in. I want to ask you about the company that you run, which
Yes.
is an insurance company.
Yes.
So you come back from bobsledding and you go, all right, time to get into business. Why choose insurance?
Well, it was interesting. When I got back from the Olympics, so I speak full time. I travel the country. I got a brand called Think Like an Olympian. So I speak to a lot of sales teams, right? I do a lot of annual conferences, quarterly meetings. I speak to a lot of teams. And when an opportunity came up with Farmers Insurance to take over an existing book of business, and what a brand to be behind, it made sense. It made sense for me. It made sense for my family to have a product that I believe in with a company that I believe in. And I've got a staff of 5. We're rocking and rolling, and we're just loving life. Things are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that was why, just because with the brand that you have, it just kind of seemed like a logical fit.
It was. The beauty about owning an insurance agency, in Texas is that I can write business all over the state of Texas. And so, although I grew up in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, I have ample contacts here. We're writing business in Austin and Houston, San Antonio, El Paso, all across the great state of Texas. So that's one of the neat things is being able to help any client across the state of Texas with their insurance needs.
That is great. I'm going to have a guess that I think it definitely could be a political future. The way that you present yourself,
That's too funny.
I'm seeing a political future. Insurance entrepreneur, Olympian, suit model also could be a thing. And I hope for the podcast. Johnny, thank you so much for coming on the show. Again, if you have any feedback that you want to give, you go to it's Johnny Quinn USA.
JohnnyQuinnUSA.com. That's my website, and then on any social media handle at Johnny Quinn USA.
All right, Johnny, we're going to take a quick break. We come back with one more guest. We're back to back with guests today. One more guest to talk to you guys about. That's coming up on the lunch break.
And we are back right here on the lunch break. And I got to be honest, I'm sitting in the host seat. I don't know if I ever done this on a lunch break.
I think maybe once back in the way behind or wherever.
I'm looking forward to it. I got to be honest. I've been working my way up this rung and up the rungs of the ladder, I should say. And I'm finally here, and I'm going to make some big changes. All right, things are going to happen now that Josh is out here. No.
Throwing out the format completely.
That's right. Josh took a step out of the studio, and we locked the door, and he's not coming back. He is coming back, actually. He'll be back. Oh, he's coming back right now. Hi, Josh. Anyway, before he gets back in here and rips me out of this seat, Anna, welcome to the show. Wanted to introduce you.
There, yeah.
I also wanted to introduce our guest for this segment, Mark A. Byer-Smith from Andre Associates PC. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. Business is good, and we enjoy being here. Thanks for having us.
I wanted to ask, first things first, because we've had a couple guests in so far. It's a very guest-heavy segment on the lunch break.
Sure, yeah. People love it. It's the trending show of the day.
It's true. We've had Atmos Energy about a charity walk. We've had Johnny Quinn about the Olympics and an announcement coming up, and now we've got you, Mr. Byer-Smith. And I want to ask, first thing, how'd you get tangled up in this whole thing? Because I've been stuck in here doing the show. People are just coming in. I don't know what's happening. It's a conveyor belt of guests. So how'd you get tangled up in the lunch break?
Well, there was another filming called The Boardroom, and your CEO was there, a fellow panelist with me, and he asked me for lunch and surprised me by really throwing me on air here.
All right. Well, first off, I'm sorry, and welcome to the show. I'd like to apologize on behalf of Jeff Crilly, of course, my favorite CEO. Tell me about Andre Associates PC.
Yes, we have 3 areas of practice. We have tax practice, and those people are trying. They thought they were going to sleep today, but based on what happened yesterday, they have to wait till tomorrow to sleep. So
I hear there were issues with the tax the IRS website. Is that what we're?
That's what we hear. Yes, and they're hoping to get on the other side of that by midnight tonight, and we probably won't see them tomorrow. They'll be in bed sleeping.
Well, what are your other 2 areas of practice?
We do consultation. We do a lot of consulting work in the M&A, raising money, various areas of consulting in the finance area.
Okay.
And we also do what is called attestation work, which you would think of as taking a look at financial statements.
And so tax season this year, obviously, you got a lot going on. Do you work primarily with kind of individuals or corporations, or where do you land on that?
Yes, my 2 partners handle that business.
Okay.
They do both individual and corporate, and they're separated by such.
Gotcha. And so this year for tax season, like Matt said, there's been some weird delays. Normally tax is cut off on the 15th, right?
That's correct.
This year it ran to the 17th, and we're getting an extra day.
You're getting an extra day. So you got an extra day to borrow your money and make your payments.
Right. Very convenient. How does that happen exactly? Because as a consumer, I don't really know. It just seemed kind of nice to get an extension. Why is that?
My partners would be better able to answer these questions, but I'll give it a shot.
Please do.
Essentially, what they did last night is sent you to the vendors to get them filed so they could set your payments. Mm-hmm. And then they had other options for payments, which was the major issue from yesterday.
All right. And how'd you get tangled up in finance, of all things? Of all things Mark Byer-Smith could do. You just hadn't liked numbers? What was that?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
Somewhat emotional.
Okay, really?
Ooh, we went in on them.
You don't think emotion when it comes to math. At least I don't, other than crying. And
I was going to say, it brings dark emotions in me.
I didn't go to math school, no.
So I lost my dad when I was young
to
cancer, and my mom had 6 kids at home, and I was at the university with my older brother, and I was majoring in this subject matter that is near and dear to teachers' hearts, which is mathematics and computer science. Mm-hmm. And my older brother, who was watching over me as dad, said, it's really nice to be an egghead, but at some point you're going to have to make a living, so why don't you find something practical to do with your skill set? And so my junior year at the university, I started taking accounting courses, and the rest is history. Went on to grad school in accounting and became certified, as you can see, and away we went.
Right. Well, I went to radio school, so I think what you did is certainly practical. Yeah, it worked out. I'd say you've probably got this just about all laced up. So why would somebody reach out to you guys? What would they need exactly?
Either they need their taxes to be done, or they need to grow their business, or they need to have their financial statements looked at for some regulatory purpose, or borrowing money, looking for equity, that kind of nature.
All right, and I want to know, you've got 2 partners. Seems like things are working out for you. You're at a board meeting. You're talking to Jeff Crilly. You got CEOs in your pocket. What's next for Mark Byer-Smith? What's coming up over the horizon?
Well, our first goal every day is to take care of our clients, and we try to do that. And we're one of the fastest growing firms in Dallas, and we want you to come to us, and we'll solve your problems for you.
How can fans of the Lunch Break get a hold of you guys if they want to find out more?
Yes, there is a website, www.andreacpa.com. You can go there and pick up our number and let us know where you are. You can click on it and send something, and we'll get back with you.
Mark, thanks so much for coming on the show. When we come back from this break, I want to find out why Josh had the Jurassic Park theme on his computer ready
Why
to
not?
go.
Right.
He's
You
got
always have
it
that ready to
queued
go.
up. Yeah, I think it's still playing actually. No, he muted it, but I don't know what he's got cooked up next. I'm sure he's going to kick me out of this.
Well, I'm
There he is.
excited.
Figure it
Yeah. So we'll be right back with more of the lunch break right after this. Just going to play the intro.
And we're back. I want to do a quick apology. So what happened
Yeah.
in that break is that Johnny Quinn goes, "Hey, can I have a quick tour?" And I didn't. When a U.S. Olympian asks you to do something,
Hey, you do it, right? Or he's going to break down a door around
Yeah.
here.
Plus, Atmos was like, "Hey, where do I put these free lunches?" So I got sidetracked by the U.S. Olympian free lunches. As you can tell,
I do have a sandwich sitting in here.
yeah,
This
so we
looks-
all have
Do you
sandwiches.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We all have, yeah,
This looks
Atmos
serious.
gave us free lunch. So I got sidetracked. I'm like, hey, I'll do it. Instead of saying, hey, someone else take Johnny
Right.
Quinn upstairs. I had a momentary lapse of proper judgment.
Yeah.
And I put you guys in an awkward position, and I apologize.
Put me in the host seat. That is lack
Yeah.
of judgment. Yeah,
No,
that was
no,
a
not,
that was a
not
mistake.
you in the host seat, but going, hey, we're back in 10 seconds. Interview that guy. That's an unfair place to put you, and I apologize.
I don't want to sell Mr. Mark Byersmith or anybody else we've ever had on this show down the river, but hear me out. Is Johnny Quinn the biggest guest we've had so far? I think he might be.
By far.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I wouldn't say by far,
Hey,
but
U.S. Olympian.
we had Hunter from Ben and Jerry's, all right? He almost
That's
had
true.
ice cream. Like, that could have been
Yeah.
anything.
If Hunter brought ice cream,
Right.
then that's a game
Tall.
changer.
That might have been it.
Yeah, but
sure.
no ice cream, it's done.
We had a
Dead to me.
cocktail on the show once. That was a good time. Yeah.
And cupcakes.
The point is, we're getting Olympians on the show now, so this could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And yes, if he'd asked me to be a guest or to give him a tour, I would have done it.
Yeah,
It's true.
I should have thought through it, and I would have given a great tour. It would have, but instead I would. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hey guys, do the show without me. I'll be back.
I'm still,
Let me just abandon all responsibility for a little while.
Yeah. My fault entirely. Lack of judgment. And as soon as I got halfway up the stairs, I was like, "That was stupid. That was really, really, really dumb."
I'm a little self-conscious. How was my little host segment? I did okay? I kind of stumbled, but yeah, it came off all right.
No, you did fine.
Thanks.
You would put,
There we go.
You would put
Yeah.
there in the
I
spot.
did
and
it.
Fine.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Perfect.
Oh wait, I didn't have it up.
Oh, come on now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Hey, I wanted to ask, why did you have the Jurassic Park theme pulled up on your computer?
It was an accident.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well, that was
from
quite
all
the tease.
things.
I told people something was coming. I was like, I don't know what Josh
Well, we
has
need to
next,
get
but
to the
stay
bottom of
tuned.
it, yeah.
What I
Nothing.
do want to talk about is this story that was in the New York Times. New York Times had a story about the Saints cheerleader who is having a EEOC lawsuit against the New Orleans Saints.
EEOC.
Yeah. So behind me, you'll see a photo of her and the photo in question.
On stream, we'll see it
probably
here
on
in just a
stream.
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
long story short, there's a lot of rules to being a cheerleader in the NFL. They're very strict with how you operate, how you handle yourself, what you can and cannot say, what you can and cannot do.
Yes.
She had her Instagram on private. She said in the article, I was in a one-piece bathing suit and they fired me for being in a one-piece bathing suit. The photo that you're seeing on stream here momentarily is not a one-piece bathing suit.
So the one on the right is the photo that was posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna put your camera up so they can see.
No, it's
on
it's
stream.
on stream.
Well, I meant when he's talking. It's fine. Yeah, I
Yes,
won't worry
right
about
there,
it.
there you go.
I won't stress over it.
So it's one of those deals that they said that the contract she signed said that she cannot pose in nude, semi-nude, or inappropriate, which is one of those like all-encompassing blanket statements.
Vague enough to fire someone
Exactly.
for any reason
Sure.
necessary.
So her thing was, I had it set to private, so I shouldn't be bound by those same rules. But if anyone can see an Instagram post, it is no longer private. Once you put it online, on social media, I don't care how strict your filters are, you just have to have one friend, and it's no longer private.
Exactly, and plus, once you put it in there, what's her veto on the people that actually follow her on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
She could be that person that's kind of like, oh well, I'll accept every other person.
Sure.
Yeah.
Set on private, but still accepts people.
So the crux or the whole point to her argument is she says that these rules are, quote, put in place according to the organization to protect the cheerleaders from the athletes, but they put all the onus on the cheerleaders to avoid the male football players. So some of the rules are, if they walk into a restaurant and they see an NFL player, a Saints player, they have to walk out. If they're at the restaurant, this is hilarious to see this on the back and everyone walking by and just staring at the screen.
What is going on?
Smile and wave, gang. Yeah.
If they're eating at a restaurant and an NFL player walks in, they have to check out and leave. And I think
The cheerleader has to leave.
The cheerleader has to leave.
Oh wow!
Wait, cheerleaders and athletes
So
can't be in the same place?
There's no fraternization.
Really?
And because my wife and I were having this conversation yesterday. I was like, this came from somewhere. They didn't just invent this rule.
Right.
This came from, oh no, we didn't go to the restaurant together. I was already there, and then he met me. It's just one of those deals. It's designed to protect both people. It's designed to protect the players. It's designed to protect the cheerleaders. It's just one of those deals. If you sign up for an organization, and the only frame of reference I have are the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and it may just be a bias, but I think that they're a pretty big brand. They're known throughout at least the United States, and I think in a lot of other countries as well, as being a known entity of their own. And there are a lot of strict rules and guidelines that they have to follow. And those rules and guidelines are probably put in place to prevent people who just wanted to be around multi-million-dollar athletes. Mm-hmm. And so to avoid that drama, here's the deal. If you want to be a cheerleader, great. Here are the rules, systems, and places. Because the thing is, they don't get paid much. They get paid, I think it's like $10 an hour, $12 an hour. They make next to nothing.
Amanda and Samantha both made that point in the comments. Yeah, they don't get paid a whole lot.
Yeah. So they're doing it for either two things. One, because they love dancing and they love being a cheerleader, which is great. Or they're doing it for other motives, which I won't fill in the blanks. What was that a drastic comment?
No, I was just confused. Other
Well,
motives.
you mean like
they're trying to get next to Tony Romo, or trying to get next to
they're trying to get noticed.
trying to get noticed by other people.
Oh, I thought other motives like they just like being a cheerleader.
Well, yeah, that's the first one. Like I said they like to dance, they like to cheer.
Pardon my innocence. I apologize. Yeah, I hadn't considered that they wanted to make a connection or anything.
But even the other one of them, because you can't use the Saints or the Cowboys logos for any sort of ulterior motives. You can't be around and use the brand of the Saints or of the Cowboys.
Somebody's throwing a lot of angry faces on the comments. Are you seeing these?
Spamming
Oh
the
God, they're
angry
still
faces.
coming.
It's probably Samantha.
I think it's Samantha
Sure
Knight.
it is.
Yeah.
I
So
guarantee
my thing is this is the same thing that happened to me when I was entry level at iHeartMedia. I was handing out pins and stickers at concerts.
Uh-huh.
They have the same rules. As a part-time promotions person,
Yeah.
you cannot engage with, talk to, approach on-air talent. The same rule applied.
It's fine, but like, okay, I have a lot of complicated feelings about this.
Well,
this case.
Josh just went on a long spiel. There's a lot to unpack there. Yeah,
Please, go
there's a
ahead.
lot of different angles. First off, well, no, Matt, you started the point. Go ahead. Yeah,
Well,
take it away.
Okay, let's take it back to the very beginning. Her
Yes.
her argument that her Instagram account was private and therefore she shouldn't be beholden to whatever rules, whether they be valid or invalid, I think is not true. Like, just because you have a private Instagram account doesn't mean that other people can't see that. And again, like Anna said, who knows what her filter is as far as allowing people on her Instagram account. So
Right,
I
but-
think that doesn't hold water.
Break this down for me. If an Instagram account is private, that means what? You
It
can't
means
see it publicly.
You can't just search her and see it. You have to.
Be her
she has
friend.
to allow you to follow her.
Okay. All right. So that is limited public view, I guess. That's fair.
Right, but they're still out there, and people could share them or screenshot them or do whatever. And
Right.
get
If
those
any
pictures
one
out
of her friends screenshotted it and posted it somewhere, boom, it's public. Like
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
a hop, skip, and a jump away from public.
Exactly. So
Okay.
that doesn't hold water. Now, the idea that what she posted, which again I'll put up on stream for folks to reference, the idea that what she posted is any more suggestive or racy than what A, normal cheerleader wear is, or B, anything else that she posted on her Instagram in a swimsuit or anything like that is ridiculous. I think, like, if they're using this picture, again, the one on the right, if they're using this picture as a case against her, I think that's ludicrous. Like, I think, you know, like, you have cheerleaders, they're going to pose in swimsuits, they're going to pose in their cheerleading outfits.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, that's part of the gig, right? Like, that's and to consider that to be somehow too suggestive to be a cheerleader in the NFL, I think is a little bit prude.
I agree. Samantha pointed out in the comments that she's clearly showing more skin in her cheerleader suit than she is in the bathing suit. I
At
agree.
least it's the same amount.
Very quickly, devil's advocate, it's not about how much skin is shown, it's about which skin is shown where, right? That's what that is.
And the thing is like that's Saints apparel. So whenever you sign a contract, and it's just, again, I'm going back to the only thing that I actually know, which is iHeart. When you sign a contract to work for a company, so I signed a contract as a personality to work for a company. They theoretically own the branding of you. So if they're saying, hey, you're allowed to wear this when you're in Saints attire at a Saints organization and those kind of things, it's like you're a model. You are a representation of us. Now, outside of what we condone as appropriate, you can't do any other action.
So here's my problem with that, is just because it's in a contract doesn't mean it's right. Like, it takes people to challenge this stuff. If this woman was fired because of what she's posting on her Instagram, I think she ought to challenge the idea that, well, okay, so you want us to go out there. She makes the point that the NFL cares about their players more than the cheerleaders,
Yes.
which I think is an argument that can be made. Like, obviously, the NFL players, if there weren't NFL players, there wouldn't be the NFL. I get that. But they have cheerleaders for a reason, right? They don't put nobody out there. They have cheerleaders for a reason, so they're important to the product as well. They're maybe not the same amount, but they are important to the product. They shouldn't be disrespected just because they're cheerleaders. They're out on the field entertaining fans in another way.
But how is saying don't pose nude, semi-nude,
She
or
didn't.
inappropriate? She's in a lacy, see-through, like what looks like negligee.
What is the difference? What is the difference between that and this and her Saints outfit?
Because
Like,
the Saints outfit looks like, to me, a two-piece bathing suit. A very weird two-piece bathing suit. The other thing looks like something you would wear on your honeymoon when you're about to be intimate with
maybe,
someone
yes,
else.
it's a bathing suit that looks more like lingerie.
That
but
is
still,
not a bathing suit. That would crumble in water.
So
That is not a bathing suit.
one has sexual undertones. Is that what we're?
And that's
getting
what
at here?
that's what I'm saying. It's
Right.
Like, so if you're using that to brand yourself, what they're saying is you can't do both. You can't build your brand.
you have to allow that. Like, that's my problem. You have to allow.
don't have to
pay
allow
them
that.
nothing to go out there and dance for you. You expect them to go practice. You expect them to go to events.
Mm-hmm.
You pay them next to nothing. Like, the only benefit to that job is that you get to brand yourself as I was a cheerleader. Therefore, maybe you can get modeling contracts. Maybe you can do some sort of you can have some sort of promotion attached, or go out and promote for a brand. Like, that's the benefit of that.
The key word you said was I was a cheerleader. So after you're done, after you hang your whatever pom-poms up, you can go do whatever you want to do. But when you're a part of the organization and they pay you, not much, but they pay you to be a brand of the organization, what they don't want is they don't want a sex scandal. They don't want a sex tape. They don't want
Because
nude
the
photos.
NFL players can't control themselves.
But no, not because of that. Because of the branding
If they have to
issue.
get kicked out of a restaurant because the NFL player walks in.
What to me, when I hear that, what that says to me is that there were people who tried to get around that and wanted to fraternize with players because you can follow them on social media and you know where they're going. Who go, oh, I would just happen to be at Eddie V's when you showed up, Des Bryant. I didn't know you were going to be here. So it just prevents that and all from all happening. Like, it's just a clean cut.
It is
because not everyone can follow the rules. We're going to have a clear cut black and white rule system.
It is a blanket open door policy just to avoid any kind of weird hangups or whatever. I feel weird about getting in on this because I feel like I'm somehow going to get roasted in the comments.
Say, now that all the men in the room have.
So
have
I'm trying to jump in, but in a safe way, and I can't figure out a way to do it. It's true, Samantha. It said, and as a lady, what do you think?
Well, I was waiting to jump in.
Yeah,
I was
so
like,
exactly.
okay,
Yeah,
let's
I
see.
don't know where the best place to cut in on this is. So,
I was just listening and listening. Okay, so my big point is, if you take the cheerleader aspect of it, even society, if you look at a woman in a bikini in a beach, you're like, oh, that's acceptable. But if you see a woman in, underwear in the middle of a field, you're going to be like, what the hell? That's not natural, right? So even that concept, it's crazy. It's ludicrous. It makes no sense. But taking it to another level, that's this. To me, honestly, she's way more provocative on the cheerleader outfit than on the lacy thing.
I think it's like we said earlier Monday when I was claiming that a certain professional sport is dumb because it seems too easy, and we'll talk about that later. That's not for this, but you guys pointed out, you're like, well, that's the rules of that game. In that specific instance, that's how that's played, so you can't compare that to other things. When it comes to this contract, like, contracts are supposed to be to clearly define a rule set, right? If somebody has an opinion and they're firing her for it, clearly that wasn't outlined correctly in a contract that's supposed to explain those rules, right? That's the issue, is that somebody is going back and saying, well, that crosses an invisible line that wasn't exactly set. That's the problem here, right? I mean, that's what this is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a moral turpitude part of a contract where you can make that mean whatever you think it should mean, defined by whomever is defining it at the moment.
I mean, the logical part of me says there's way more to his story than what meets the eye.
Sure. I mean, who knows? She could have been a problem, and they're just looking for a reason to fire her.
And then found one.
Yeah.
There, you're gone. But I like, because there's been a lot of other instances with a lot of other lawsuits, and I actually like what the Buffalo Bills have done.
Which is?
Got rid of the whole thing altogether. There are no more cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills.
They just don't do it?
They just got rid of the whole program because it was people had been misusing the program. There were like girls who were like doing car washes in bikinis, and they were like, "What's the?" And that was my point from the very beginning. I think the NFL would be just fine if there were no cheerleaders allowed at all on the field. That's not what I'm there for. I don't go so I can watch the cheerleaders in skimpy gear dancing around. I want to watch the game. And so to me, it's a total side project, and it makes no sense. And I think like it objectifies in some way. If you want to do it, great. But
I
to
totally
me,
agree.
I go to watch the NFL on Sunday to watch the players play and not have anything to do with the cheerleaders on the sideline. If you took those away today, I would be totally fine. I don't think there would be any change in the viewership or the ratings or the brands. It would be a lot cleaner.
Objectively, I agree. Like, obviously, the NFL would still exist. The majority of people watch the NFL on television, so it would still exist if a cheerleader didn't exist on the sideline. I get that. The thing is, you mentioned the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. The reason they're so well known is because they are used as a promotional tool of the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders go out. They do charity. They do promotional work. They go, they go visit people in the hospital, things like that. Like there is still a positive aspect of what they're doing. They're not just dancing on the sidelines to titillate the crowd. they're another arm of the Dallas Cowboys to reach out into the community. And I think there's value there. Obviously, if there wasn't value, they would just do away with them. Other teams have not. Am I getting
No.
Zach out music?
You're making too good of a point, sir. Yeah. No, and I agree with you. I think we can go back and forth again all day about trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think there does need to be better rules in place. You can't have a rule on a contract that says essentially if we find it to be inappropriate, then it's inappropriate. There needs to be clear-cut things. But I would suggest just getting rid of all the programs altogether across the board and having a clean environment where it's just about the actual game. But that's just me. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have another hot topic that got Zach in a tizzy earlier today, having to do with Alzheimer patients and fake cats.
Yes, that happened.
Coming back next on the Lunch Break Show. And we are back on the Lunch Break Show. I want to point out one comment that Samantha talked about getting calendars for all of us to do a sexy photo shoot for calendars.
On board.
My wife loves the idea, but I will fight that as best as possible.
You know, I wouldn't be against if it was retail $19.99. Really? Is that what we're worth, Samantha? $19.99?
Come on.
Come on.
That's $20 for a calendar. That's pretty. That's pretty pricey for a calendar.
If you're spending $20 to see me in a two-piece, you got bigger problems.
Is this a 12-month or 16-month?
You're trying to launder money some way if you're spending $20.
So the story that got Zach all fired up today.
Accidentally,
is a story that came out, and it was talking about this new thing that they're doing with Alzheimer patients, that instead of giving them real cats to comfort them and as like a therapy animal, we're giving them, it said robotic, I'm not sure what that means. Robotic cats. And for some reason, you put your flag in the sand and said this is inappropriate and this is wrong.
Somebody's gotta. All right, somebody's got to defend these people. Okay, let me begin this by stating two things. Don't own a cat. Never had to interact with anybody really who has dementia. So let's get started there. I don't know what I'm talking about.
The perfect person to talk about this.
I saw this headline and thought this will be perfect to talk about. So here it is. Yes, dementia patients at a certain care facility are being given robotic cats, right? That's the headline. My argument is, why don't they just give them real cats? Why robot cats? Because to me what that seems like is, well, people with dementia don't know any better. Why do they deserve a full actual experience with a real animal? Just give them a fake one. They won't know the difference. And that just seems a little twisted to me. Like, really? We can't give somebody with dementia like an actual human connection with an animal? We have to give them a fake something and just let them believe that they're connecting with this thing? Like, that just doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem fair. That just seems oddly inhumane. So go ahead. Yeah, what's the counterpoint to this?
So the counterpoint to this is, again, I've never owned cats, because there was at one point in time in your argument that you're talking about training cats.
Yeah.
Which Matt said is next to impossible.
No, you're not going to do it. It's not the same as a therapy dog where you can train them to be. And I wouldn't. Cats will behave in a certain spectrum of behavior, but they're not going to do exactly what you think.
I have trouble believing that, but I don't know enough about cat science to debate it.
Yeah, you don't see cat guide.
Right. You don't. It's true. You don't see guide cats.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's fair.
Cats.
That's fair. Yeah, you don't. That's valid. But I have seen like small animals, specifically dogs, to be fair, that are used for like therapy. Like psychologists use them, right? They'll have them like they'll have people who are really traumatized, maybe have PTSD, depression, that kind of thing. They'll have young, small, very small dogs that are real fluffy and big-eyed that they raise from birth to be just the most docile, sweetest dogs on the face of the planet, right? And they don't bark and they don't bite and they're just chill all the time and they just walk around with their fluffy tails and they're adorable. And whenever they're done using them, whenever these dogs are old enough, they sell them to people who maybe have family members who have dementia or like young kids. Like these dogs offer something to society, I think. So I can get behind the idea of using animals as treatment, right? Animals as therapy. I think there's value there. I don't see why we can't figure out a way to do that with cats and instead of giving people like robot cats. Like it just seems twisted.
The thing about it is that it goes down to ease of use.
And also perception.
Perception.
That's a big part of it, but yes.
So my grandmother had Alzheimer's for the last 10 years of her life. And she lived in the house with me and obviously with my parents. And it was challenging at the best of times. Because every day was a brand new day. Every day was like Groundhog Day, start anew. Who are you? What are you doing? How are you here? And it got to the point where every 10 or 15 minutes was a brand new day. And so some of the questions and concerns with having a real cat is if they're taking care of the cats, then that's a problem with feeding. That's an issue that they've had before in nursing homes and retirement centers is animals not being fed, not being taken care of.
Right.
And like you said, there's people there who take care of them. Who
It is a care facility.
Yeah, they
yes.
can take, but that's also not their job. But
That's extra work.
Extra work.
If
Yeah.
you can get similar benefits from giving someone a fake cat, then having to add, well, now somebody's got to go clean up after the cat.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to make sure it's fed, make sure it's watered, make sure it doesn't scratch someone, make sure it doesn't bite someone.
Yep.
Then yeah, I think if you can get 90% of the way there by just giving them a cat that looks and feels more or less real, then
Sure.
I think it's probably the better option.
I think if senior citizen homes can bring in like church groups and like young youth ministries and whatever to have kids like play board games with older folks, like that doesn't seem like too much of a juggle. I'm not saying you'd have cats running around the hospice center. Just every once in a while, bring them in for a few hours. Like that seems like a reasonable thing, and that seems like just a better experience than holding a fake cat.
How about someone that has, trauma with an animal that has been bitten, someone that has severe allergies?
Sure.
It kind of makes sense. It's just safer. And plus, can you imagine someone with reduced mobility going over like a cat's tail? Can you imagine?
Right.
Sure.
They didn't see it.
And
Or
I think the allergy point is probably a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in one of these facilities, you may have a lower immune system, and so allergies could probably play a bigger part.
Well, they have to serve these people food. I'm sure they keep track of like peanut allergies, right?
yeah,
they're
well,
on file. They're in a care center. They have a record.
But peanuts can't walk from room to room.
correct.
Right.
So it's one of those. I think it's just one of those. Like it sounds inhumane, but I don't think it's coming from a place of they won't know any better and we can trick them.
Right.
Like that would be cruel. But for me, it's coming from a hey, how can we give them comfort, give them ease, and at the same time not inconvenience anyone else.
Right.
And so that seems to be an overwhelming, hey, you know what? And at first we were kind of worried that these cats would look bad, but we've seen here on the stream that they look fine. They look just like an actual kind of a cat, and you could tell that it's not real. But the fur's there. You can see it. You can pet it. I'm sure it makes little like purry sounds, and that's really all that you want. Is just something to kind of interact with and to feel a connection with. And again, tomorrow's going to be a brand new day. And it's one of those deals like what's best for them right now. And, and that would be,
Megan making the point on Facebook, you also have the vet bills, which if you have 7 cats running around, that's 7 different vet bills, and that can get very expensive. So if you can cut that out of that's just more money that doesn't have to be spent on caring for a live animal.
This does come from a very ignorant, I want to say hopeful, but ignorant view of dementia. Because again, I've never had to deal with anybody that has it. But I look at that woman on that stream holding the cat. like, do you think she really knows that's not a real cat? Probably not. To her, she thinks it is, and like that's twisted to me. That you would give that to her.
I don't know that she thinks it's a real cat.
it's
I don't
not
know.
like
you think
the-
she knows that's fake? Like, look at it.
don't
She's
know.
cradling it in a blanket,
But
man.
it's
Like,
not
come on.
like it's the Jamie Kennedy experiment. You might pop out and go, "You've been punked." It's
You've been
it's
X'd.
yeah, you've been X'd. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's just an easy way of dealing with something that they want to hold. They want to, and a normal cat was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm kind of done with you holding me.
Yeah.
I want to get down." But she may have had a good 10 hours more of petting the cat.
Yeah.
Right, it's just something to do at the same time, right? They probably think, oh, it's my cat, I gotta care for it, and it's just keeping them focused.
Right.
Perhaps?
I
don't know.
Someone posted online and said, "You know what? Robotic cats sound pretty cool. I think we're opening the door to a whole new thing. Maybe
Sign
they,
me up,
yeah,
please."
maybe they can start going to war instead of having live
Oh my
Okay, well,
gosh.
that is
there we
another
go.
topic.
Robotic cats off to invade, because I know that was probably my wife. It was, yeah. She's
Yeah.
always to stress by seeing the dogs, the actual dogs that are in like the canine gear that go in and fight, and she gets distressed. by that.
To be fair, yeah, another big part of this, I don't know how legit those robot cats are. Because I imagine robot cat, I imagine like a 90s fake cat you
Right,
get
they
from
look-
like KB Toys. Yeah, that like moves and like has light up eyes and makes a super fake. It could be totally legit for
Dude,
all I
I've been
know.
fooled by like fake cats in stores because they'll have them like sitting on a bed and they'll
Yeah.
breathe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you get close enough to them, you can tell that they're not real. But I'm looking, I'll look for a couple of seconds and be like, is that a cat just hanging out on the shelf there?
Yeah, this is a totally like sidebar, but in the same thing. In 2002 or 3, when I was in college, we had a no pets policy in the dorms, obviously. But there was a person that I was friends with who her parents, she was a big dog and cat owner. She wanted to have a cat there, made her feel better. Her parents sent her, and it looked like a stuffed cat. And like it was in a sleeping position in a bed.
Yeah.
And it looked real. Everything about it looked real. Like it was just asleep. And that creeps me out. That bothered me a lot. That was just sitting in her room. It's one of those things that just kind of, again, a sidebar.
And they have those that'll purr and breathe
Yeah.
and things like that. It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm out. Take a quick break. We have another fascinating headline that I want to dip
Hot
into.
topics all
Hot
day.
topics, yeah. We only have a few minutes, but we got to at least read the headline of the story. How one man's pain medication may have changed his sexual orientation. We can't make this stuff up. Coming back on the Real News lunch break. And okay, we are back on the Lunch Break Show. Again, we are broadcasting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here to Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. So this is our first ever stream on Twitch. I'm going to sound old for a quick second. I think it's only for video gaming, but I saw that Conan O'Brien was doing it. So you know what? Good enough for Conan O'Brien, who turns 55 today. Good enough for us. Side note as well.
Does he really?
Yeah.
How do you know that? You just saw it somewhere?
Well, when I was searching for how to find it, that popped up.
Conan O'Brien's
Today.
55 today. Wow,
Yeah,
I didn't
there you
know
go.
that.
It's also Superman's birthday. He's 80 years old today.
I've never seen the two of them in the same room. There, I've said it. So the headline, and again, this is one of those deals that we're not going to like dig too much into, but
No.
I just want to read the headline and basically read the comments. The headline said, "Man declares he is now attracted to other men after taking painkillers."
Yeah, I found this story and I thought to myself, we can't talk about this on the lunch break. This will be odd and people will be uncomfortable, and I pitched it to Josh and Matt and Anna, and they were like, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about it on the lunch break.
Yeah, of course.
It's one of the greats. So yes, Scott Purdy, a 23-year-old guy out in the UK, dumped his girlfriend of 6 months after taking pregabalin and realizing he was attracted to men. Pregabalin is also known as Lyrica here in the United States. It's an anti-anxiety, a little bit of an antidepressant. It's often prescribed for people with paranoia. And so, yeah, he starts taking this drug after a go-karting accident where he breaks his foot. And after 6 months, he's like, hey, I think we should break up. I'm kind of into guys. What's intriguing to me about this is it's odd that a medication would just flip you right over to the other team, right? It's a little curious.
I can't imagine it's the medication's fault.
Yeah.
Right. And my spin on this is he says in this article, he says, when I was younger, I was a little bit curious, but for the most part, been into women. I want to grab on that little bit curious bit. I think that's important because
the key.
Right, this is a medication that kind of lowers anxiety and makes you cool to kind of things. I think he starts taking this and he kind of lets down some barriers and goes, you know what? Yeah, maybe I've been doing this all wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think if any of us were to take a pill, it would change our
I don't think
our
so.
identity.
The
in
next
any sort of
lunch
way.
break show.
We're all going to take this pill and see what happens.
Yeah, I did think it was sensationalist. This article also outlined that the people who make Lyrica are the same people who make Viagra. I don't think it's related. I think it's coincidental. But hey, good for the guy, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, he's found his true self.
It's
It's
true.
good for him.
I'm way too skeptical.
Okay.
I think here's what happened. This go-karting stud wanted out of the relationship.
Oh,
And,
wow.
Yeah, he wanted out and couldn't think of a good way to break up with his girlfriend. And
Uh-huh.
so he goes, hey, you know what? These pain pills actually have turned me toward men, and I don't think we should be together anymore.
So do you think he doesn't actually feel that way?
No, I bet you in like 4 or 5 months he conveniently took another
Oh,
pill.
they wore off.
Yeah, that made him back into woman again. I don't. I think it's kind of ridiculous.
If that's what's happening here, I'd like to make a case that Scott Purdy may be the modern George Costanza, because that is impossible and the worst way that could blow up. There's an article.
that would be
he posted about it on Facebook.
Yeah, he
We're talking
became
about it on the
famous.
lunch break. Yeah, that took off.
yeah,
I'm just saying, only really random, but he wanted to dump the girlfriend and become famous. Unlikely mix. That's not how. Like, okay, so I'm gonna find these random situation where I become famous.
And
by
he's
being
not
related.
like a 45. I mean, he's 23 years old. All right, he's younger than all of us. So I don't think this is really like that. I don't know why Lyrica got tied up in this whole thing, but I appreciate that he's pushing the blame onto a pill. It's very big of him. No, it's not me. It's the medication's fault, right?
I gotta say, also at the same time, maybe he has such a judgmental family or surrounding or friends, all of that,
Yeah.
he's just like, I have to go the extra mile to explain
There's
why
gotta be some
suddenly,
reason why.
exactly,
Sure, yeah.
suddenly I'm like, girl, not into you anymore.
Pfizer was quick to jump on this, and I respect that. That as a company, they were like, "Oh, that's
Wait a minute.
advertising. Yep, where can we get involved? Let's
Yeah.
put out a statement." Yeah, and they said that the things have been tested, and they haven't been known to happen. But Lyrica's a great drug, and try it out. That was their.
Oh, wow.
You never know what might happen.
Exactly. Hey, yeah, you never know where you might go with Lyrica.
So,
yeah.
well, the fact that he's 23 kind of changes that for me a little bit. 'Cause
A
I think,
little
I
bit.
think at 23, it's still not uncommon to have men or women, still defining what their orientation, still trying to figure out what their feelings are.
Yeah, I agree with Anna here that I think he probably felt this way anyway, and he was just looking for the exit door.
Maybe if he didn't
Right.
even know it. Maybe he didn't know he was looking for the exit door. Maybe it just happened. I don't know. But who should be more embarrassed by this, Scott Purdy or the girlfriend?
The girlfriend. 100%. She was dating a 23-year-old guy who loved go-karts.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, she's the one that needs some medication.
When was the
There's
last?
nothing wrong about loving go-kart.
No.
Well, yeah. When was the last
No,
time you
come
were
on.
in a go-kart?
Like,
Josh?
well, a while.
Right.
Clearly.
Also, he had a go-kart wreck. That doesn't mean he was in love with go-karts.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was such an
Flying
awful
around
driver.
that track.
If you're 23 and you're in a go-kart, you're in love with go-karts.
Dude, I'll get in a go-kart today. Right? Let's go.
I would go for a go-kart race right now.
So we have a new email address as well. It is Zach.
Yes, the lunch break at realnewspr.com. That's
Hard to
us.
remember.
We would
Yeah.
love your feedback, your comments, anything that you want to add. If you want to be a guest on the show, we would love to hear from you and have you come in and join the insanity that is the Lunch Break Show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here from 12 until 1. Again, like, subscribe, and follow. See you guys on Friday.